Good morning and welcome to a very late morning porridge. It's 16th February 2026. This morning, let's talk about sliding, jambos, and rugby, sports that matter. And we'll start off with a classic rugby quote. Oh, he's kicked that one so high, it's come down with a touch of frost on it. Now, the world may be going to hell in a handbasket, and tomorrow is the start of the year of the fire horse, the most volatile of the 60-year Chinese zodiac cycle. But what a fantastic weekend of sports we just had, and that's all positive stuff. Let's enjoy it while we can. So apologies for a very late morning porridge this morning after a very early flight back from Edinburgh. Tomorrow there'll be a full breakdown on the market implications of who said what but meant that at the Munich Security Conference and what's afoot in AI stocks. But this morning, let's enjoy the good things in life and talk about sports, their influence and importance, whether it be Olympic gold in skeleton, football, or Scotland's magnificent win on Saturday in the Six Nations Rugby at Murrayfield. Now, sports matter, not just in terms of the potential opportunities to monetize sporting success, of which there are many, but also in terms of concepts such as soft power and belief, and how that can influence sentiment and growth. After Saturday's win at the rugby, I was a one-man economic boom time in Edinburgh's hostelries on Saturday night. Mighty oak trees stem from little acorns, and small sporting successes can make small nations mightier yet. But let's start with the UK's sliding successes, racking up 2 Olympic gold medals in skeleton, which is basically running full pelt down a bobsleigh track before jumping face down onto a tea tray to see who can get to the bottom fastest in as few pieces as possible. I have tried it and it's very, very scary and it hurts a lot when you get it wrong, banging into the sides. But Britain's Matt Weston has won 2 golds this year as the world's undisputed top skeleton slider. Now, Britain's dominance in skeleton is not due to some inherent British genetic sliding gene or an inherent national trait towards slipping at speed. We don't have uncanny coordination using our heads to steer the things, which is how it's done. Skeleton dominance is a result of a deliberate decision some 25 years ago, in pre-London Olympic days, to focus national resources on sports where the UK could achieve showcase national success. Back then, the government understood sporting success is a form of soft power. And in the case of skeleton, it's been money really well spent. First up was identifying the participants, originally taking superb athletes from other disciplines like cycling and retraining them to go sliding. Alongside that came the investment and resources in the programme. Building a concrete test track at Bath University was critical, and during the winters, I would lend the team, because I knew the guy managing it, the sailing team Batfish van, where we used to stack our sails, to take their kit to train on Norwegian ice tracks in the winter. Then they used things like tech in terms of booking wind tunnel time and using tech to constantly refine the details, like the tea tray and helmets. And the UK's latest helmet design was actually declared illegal just a few days before the start of the Olympics. But now the UK has won 5 skeleton golds, 2 silvers and 5 bronzes since Amy Wilson hit the podium high step in Whistler in 2010. It's now one of our most successful Olympic sports, and the fact that there isn't a single bobsleigh track in the UK highlights it's anything but a mass participation sport. But its success has undoubtedly boosted interest in ice sports and secured support for other sports by demonstrating the potential of a smart approach to winning. Edinburgh, Scotland's capital, is one of the world's great cities. It may be small, but it's a leading European financial centre. On Thursday, I was lecturing at the Edinburgh Business School to the postgraduate investment management course, and then I had a marvellous lunch on Friday with Edinburgh's finest financial minds, hosted by Roy Leckie of Walter Scott at the world infamous Library of Mistakes. The weekend was spent at the rugby and laughing long and loud with great friends. Sadly, Sunday wasn't such a great day for my football team, Heart of Midlothian, who crashed 4-2 to the Rangers in Glasgow. Now, the Jambos have historically been the 10th best team in a two-team league for decades. The Scottish Premier League is a duopoly of Celtic and Rangers. Yet this year, Hearts are leading the SPL, which has shocked many fans. Their success has come on the back of a new data-driven approach, crunching information and numbers to build the team based on identifying underrated but excellent and cheap players outside the usual large teams and nations, and then refining their individual matchday strengths. Now, it just so happened I had one of these serendipitous meetings with one of the football data guys over the weekend. He described to me exactly how the visual information that he and his team collect at training sessions and on match days on player skills like passing and shooting accuracy, but also their anticipation and awareness can be combined with physical inputs that monitor how hard they're working. There are sensors on the back of their necks, and it is dramatically changing the beautiful game. A few years ago, I actually wrote in the Porridge about how Southampton Football Club, the Saints, had appointed a manager to do much the same thing, but he was sacked after he failed to turn the team around in, I think it was 8 weeks they gave him. Now, what Hearts are doing with a data-led approach to the game could be transformational for smaller teams. Today, footy is dominated by an extremely small number of wealthy bulge bracket teams, but if names like Hearts and the Welsh team Wrexham, owned by Hollywood stars, show that there are other effective ways to monetize success, then it's a potential game changer and changes values across the sports landscape. And we live in an era of sports monetization, and there could be gold in them lower hills of the football leagues as data takes over. And of course, we do have to talk about the rugby, which, to be honest, I could talk about all day after Saturday's game. In rugby's Six Nations Championships, Scotland's win against the English on Saturday at Murrayfield was a remarkable triumph and completely against expectations. At our lunch on Friday, my host, Roy, asked for predictions for the game. Funnily enough, I came closest, predicting Scotland would do better than expected and could even hold the English to a draw. Everyone else, mostly proud Scots financiers, guessed that we would lose either by a heartbeat or by a massive drubbing. The fear was that Scotland would do their usual, start well, even score a few points, but then tire, make silly mistakes and unforced errors to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, as we have often done in the past. But it didn't happen. This time, Scotland simply outplayed the English at every point and corrected all the faults that lost them the water polo match in Rome last week. And they played at 110% from minute zero to the very end. It was a very, very different performance to the one that we expected and feared. Now, it just so happened that she who is Mrs. Blain and I found ourselves staying in the same hotel as the English team, and very late on Saturday night we found ourselves in a lift with 3 of them towering over my small Welsh wife. Now, they were absolutely charming chaps and very polite and not at all upset that there was a quite loud Scotsman in the lift with them. I did thank them for giving us such an enjoyable and entertaining afternoon and hoped they would enjoy the rest of their trip to my wonderful hometown as much. One of them even smiled. I have great respect for them. I think they played well. I watched them in the Autumn Internationals, and I like England. Out of time and back with a proper porridge tomorrow. You can find the Morning Porridge on www.morningporridge.com, and if you sign up, it's delivered fresh to your inbox every morning. Tomorrow I will be back with a more serious porridge and we'll be talking about defence and AI. Thanks very much for your time. Cheers.